Episode 3, The Storyteller and the Knock at the Gate. At noon the following day, Meo stood before the largest and most imposing house in the village, the old mansion of elder kin, now occupied by Mr. Luong, former chairman of Fu Van Commune. Two massive ironwood gates flanked the entrance to a sprawling estate where tiered houses, sculpted rockeries, and manicured gardens stretched on seemingly without end. Boing, bong, bong. The pounding on the gate sent the dogs inside into a frenzy. Angry voices rose immediately from within. Who in hell is knocking out there? Are you tired of living? The gate cracked open just wide enough for a head to thrust through. A man of about 40, sour-faced and condescending. It was Mr. Luong's servant, Duan. He pointed a finger at Meo and shouted, "You ragged little wretch, have you lost your mind in this midday heat? Do you know whose gate you're pounding on? Say another word, and I'll let the dogs tear you apart." From beyond the gate, Meo could hear the low, hungry growling of Mr. Luong's dogs, their claws scraping the ground. Her face went pale and her voice trembled, but she forced herself to speak. "Hello, uncle. Please forgive me. I need to speak with Mr. Luong. There's something important." Doan only grew angrier. "Important? Who do you think Mr. Luong is? That filthy, penniless people like you can just come and see him. Get away from here, or I'll open this gate and let the dogs have you." Meo pressed on, her voice barely steady. Please just tell Mr. Luong this concerns elder Kin's grave." Duan was reaching for the gate latch when a woman's voice cut through the air from behind Meo. "What is this commotion? Uncle Duan, who is this person?" Duan immediately bowed his head. "Mistress, you're back from the temple. Pay no attention, just a fool with too much sun. Come inside, my lady." Meo turned. It was Mrs. Yen, Mr. Luong's first wife, a deeply religious woman. Mrs. Yen was known throughout the village not for beauty or cruelty, but for her fervent superstition. She attended every pagoda and temple she could reach. She would not spare a coin for a hungry beggar, yet she spent freely on monks and fortune tellers, consulting them over which day was auspicious for travel, which hour propitious for beginning an undertaking. At the slightest household irregularity, she would summon a mochuk to perform purification rites. Meo recognized the opportunity at once. "Grandmother," Meo said, stepping forward boldly and catching Mrs. Yen's sleeve. "Please, I have something to tell Mr. Luong. It is very important. Please listen." Mrs. Yen rolled her eyes. "Let go of me, Uncle Doan. Have someone beat this wretch and throw him out." Meo spoke quickly before Dawn could shout for the others. "Grandmother, elder Kin's grave has been disturbed. If it is not attended to immediately, I fear the consequences will be beyond reckoning." Mrs. Yan stopped. The servants came rushing from the house, Dawn shouting for them to seize Meo. But Mrs. Yan raised her hand. "Stop. All of you, stop." She turned slowly and looked at Meo, pointing a shaking finger at him. "You, what did you just say? Say it again." Meo swallowed hard, trembling to his core, but he repeated himself. "The grave, elder Kin's grave, has been disturbed." Mrs. Yan's face had drained of color. "Do you know what you're saying? Who are you? Where are you from? How do you know anything about my father-in-law's grave?" Meo answered each question as Master Luong had instructed him to. I am Mayo. My house sits in the fields, right beside the dirt road that leads straight to Elder Kin's grave. Last night I had a dream, but it was not like any ordinary dream. When I woke, I found myself standing in front of Elder Kin's grave. It was real. Don grabbed a fistful of Mio's hair and raised his hand to strike. Insolent little bastard. Speaking nonsense before the mistress, Mrs. Yin's voice came out in a shout that silenced everything. I said, "Do not hit him. Bring him inside." Duan went rigid with surprise, but he did not dare argue. He and two servants pulled Mio through the gate. The great ironwood doors swung shut behind them. For the first time in his life, Mio found himself standing inside Mr. Wong's courtyard. He was stunned. While the villagers outside counted bucket by bucket the water they had left against the drought, Mr. Puong's estate was another world entirely. The garden was lush and green, ornamental trees of every variety arranged in perfect formation. A large well in the corner of the grounds poured cool water into washing basins, and beside it sat enormous cisterns collecting rainwater. Clean water was abundant. Mio was still gaping when the growl of three large western dogs snapped him back to attention. They were not growling at him. They were waiting to be fed. A servant came carrying a heavy pot, set it on the ground, and began dropping fist-sized chunks of raw pork into three bronze bowls. The dogs lunged forward, tearing and snapping at the meat with terrible force. Mio's blood ran cold. Just minutes ago, Duan had been prepared to lose these animals on him. So this is what it means to be rich. Mio thought, even their dogs eat better than we do. Then Mrs. Yan's voice came from close behind him. Have you seen enough? Now sit down and tell me what you dreamed last night. I will warn you in advance. If you are right, you will be rewarded. If you have fabricated a story, if you have dared to mock my family's grave, you will end up like that pork my dogs are eating. Before all this, Mio had only heard that Elder Kin's family looked down on the village poor. Now, standing here, he understood. In their eyes, people like Mio were not even equal to the dogs. He steadied himself, recalled Master Luong's careful instructions before he had come, and replied, I know. That is why I risked my life to come here and tell you. Please consider what I have to say. Mio glanced around. Duan and the two servants were still standing nearby. Mrs. Yan understood. She dismissed them with a wave. Uncle Don, go and attend to your work. I'll handle this. Don shot a threatening glare at Mio before gesturing the others away. When they had gone, Mrs. Yan nodded once. Now tell me, sitting on the stone bench in the shade of the garden, Mrs. Yan's heart was already on fire. She gripped the edge of the seat and waited. Across from her, Mio began. As I said, my house sits right beside the dirt road that goes straight to Elder Ken's grave. I was asleep. I couldn't tell you exactly what hour. Because we poor folk don't count hours the way the wealthy do. When the children and the chickens went quiet, we went to bed. Mrs. Yan's eyes narrowed. You're stalling. Get to the point. I'll get there, Mio said, just as Master Luong had told him. When I fell asleep, I suddenly heard a voice outside, sometimes distant, sometimes right at the wall of my house, sometimes somewhere I couldn't place at all. What did it say? Mrs. Yan asked sharply. It was a man's voice. Weak and wheezing. I could barely make out the words. Save me. It hurts so much. Help me. And then, children. Oh, teacher. It hurts so much. Over and over like that. That was the dream. But then, I woke up. And I thought, perhaps it was real. Perhaps someone was calling for help. So I opened the door and went outside. It was dark, and the moment I stepped into the yard, the voice was gone. I almost turned back to go to bed. But then I saw it, a white shadow on the dirt road. I could not see a face. What I saw was a person wearing a yellow owl dye, white silk trousers, wooden clogs, and carrying a cane in one hand. Mrs. Yan had gone very still. What Mayo described, the yellow owl dye, white trousers, wooden clogs, the cane, was exactly how her father-in-law had dressed when he was alive. Her voice had become barely above a whisper. Go on. What happened next? That figure walked slowly toward the far end of the road. And I just followed. I don't know why. I couldn't help myself. I followed the shadow all the way to a mound of earth. When I arrived, the figure was gone. But then, there were sounds all around me. Creaking, squeaking, a scratching sound like nails on wood. And the voice from my dream came back. But this time, I could tell clearly. It was coming from beneath the mound. Then the earth split open. From underground, rats came pouring out, huge, their eyes red as blood. They swarmed over me. I couldn't move. In the dream, I believed I was being eaten alive. Mrs. Yan's throat tightened. And then, I woke up. I was fine. I thought it was only a dream. But as I calmed down, I became more frightened than I had been during the dream itself, because the place where I had been lying was not my bed. Mrs. Yan slammed her hand on the table. Why? Woof, 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 woof. The three dogs lurched upright at their mistress's cry, baring their teeth toward Mio. His face went white. Because I woke up lying under the guava tree at Elder Kin's grave. The silence that followed was absolute. Mrs. Yan stared at him, open-mouthed, then stammered. Then, does it mean? Mio prompted softly. What are you saying? She did not answer. Instead, she asked again. Everything you just told me is true? You know what it means if you have invented anything. If you have dared to blaspheme against my family's dead, not only you, but your wife and children will not live peacefully in this village again. Mio crossed his arms and bowed his head. Who would dare? Every person in this village is afraid of your family. No one would go near Elder Kin's grave, let alone sleep beside it. If I hadn't encountered something strange and believed in it was an ill omen, I would have had no reason to come here at all. No benefit to gain, only danger. Please consider. Mrs. Yan reflected. Mio was right. Even if he had known about the grave and undone nothing will have fallen on him. This village had feared Elder Kin's family for generations. No one would risk fabricating such a story. And there was another reason Mrs. Yan believed him. One she had not yet spoken aloud. She nodded slowly. For now, I believe you. But remember, if you have lied, you will certainly die. She called for Dawn. When the old servant appeared, Mrs. Yan said, give him some money and let him out. But Meo shook his head. I cannot accept money, my lady. I came here in sincerity, not for profit. Being permitted to speak with you is blessing enough for my family. Mrs. Yan looked at him for a moment with something approaching satisfaction. You know how to conduct yourself, she said. I will call for you again. You may go. Duan led Meo back through the gate. Even with the 3 dogs now lying still, Meo's legs did not stop shaking until his feet were on the road outside. He had never in his life felt such fear, nor he thought such relief. Master Luong had told him to be calm, to remember every instruction, and it had worked. Mrs. Yan had taken the bait, exactly as Master Luong predicted. The first task was complete, but as Meo walked home, unease gnawed at him. If any of this went wrong, if Master Luong had miscalculated, it would not be Meo alone who paid. His wife and children would suffer with him. Just thinking of it made his skin prickle. Back at Meo's house, his wife had grown restless. She approached Master Luong with her hands twisted together. Teacher, my husband left hours ago. Where has he gone? Master Luong sat playing with Meo's young son, who had attached himself to the old man with an inexplicable fondness. Don't worry, Master Luong said warmly. I sent him on a small errand. He'll be back soon. The boy was peppering Master Luong with questions. After a while, Master Luong turned to Meo's wife and said, This child of yours is unusually intelligent. He will not be cut down by any great calamity. One day, he will know wealth. Meo's wife sighed. You flatter us, teacher. It's hard enough feeding him day to day. I only hope his life is a little easier than ours. Master Luong rubbed the boy's head. If you were rich, what would you do with your money? The boy answered without hesitation. I would buy rice and water for everyone in the village. Master Luong laughed, a full, warm laugh that filled the small house. Very good indeed. Then Meo came through the door, drenched in sweat, his chest heaving. Teacher, I've finished. Master Luong nodded. Well done. The storyteller has played his part. Now comes mine. Back at Mr. Puong's house, after Meo had gone, Mrs. Yan sent Duan immediately to the commune to summon her husband home. Urgently, she said, there was a matter more important than any meeting. That evening, Mr. Luong arrived irritable and hungry. He strode into the room, grumbling before he had even sat down. Why did you call me back so urgently? Do you have any idea how much I had to manage today? District leaders all day. You can't just pull me away from that because you feel like it. You needed to come back, Mrs. Yan said calmly. What I have to tell you matters more than your promotion. Mr. Fuong dropped into his chair and frowned. Then say it. There is a problem with Father's grave. You are the eldest son. If not you, then who? Mr. Wong's voice dropped. The grave? What do you mean? The grave? We had the best feng shui master assess it. He said the land was extraordinary. What could possibly have happened? Have you been listening to gossip? Mrs. Yan sighed and told him everything. The strange young man in torn clothes, the dream about elder kin soaking wet and miserable, the servant's visit to the grave that found nothing amiss on the surface, and then the monk at the temple who had warned of ill fortune. Mr. Fuong slammed his hand on the table. You're telling me you dragged me back here because some beggar in rags told you a dream story? You called me home for that. The whole village knew how father dressed. Anyone could have described him. Mrs. Yan kept their voice even. I did not believe him on his word alone. Listen, 2 nights ago I dreamed of father myself. He was wearing torn, sodden clothes, shivering and in pain, looking utterly wretched. By morning, I was so uneasy, I sent servants to check the grave. They reported nothing wrong on the surface. The grass was still green, the ground still cool. I tried to reassure myself, but then this boy arrived today with a story that aligned too closely with my own dream. He refused money. He asked for nothing. In this village, no one would risk angering our family over a grave, and the monk at the temple warned me of trouble. Mr. Luong said nothing for a long time. He could not dismiss Mrs. Yan's instincts lightly. Over the years, her diligence in matters of worship and ceremony had contributed quietly to his own advancement. Family graves were sacred territory for him, and he had spared no expense on elder kin's burial. "All right," he said finally. "I admit, when you lay it out like that, it troubles me. Still, the grave was only built a little over a month ago. The master said it was excellent ground." "Then tomorrow," Mrs. Yan said, "I will send for the teacher to come to the house, and then we will all go to the grave together. Grave matters cannot be handled carelessly." Mr. Fuang agreed. They decided together. The teacher would be summoned in the morning, and the 3 of them would visit Elder Kin's grave directly. It was already past 7 in the evening. Mr. Fuang had not yet eaten. Mrs. Yan called the servants to bring dinner. The evening was quiet. The village lane outside was empty at this hour. The neighbors already asleep. While Mr. Puong ate, something drifted in from the direction of the gate. Knock, knock, knock. Mrs. Yan looked up. "Did you hear that?" Mr. Fuang stopped chewing, tilted his head, and nodded. "Someone's knocking on something. That sound..." Mrs. Yan opened the door to the room. The sound was sharper now. She stepped out. "It doesn't seem to be inside the house. It's out on the road. Knock, knock, knock." The steady rhythm continued. Mrs. Yan raised her voice. Uncle Don, where are you?" Don appeared from the hallway, straightening his disheveled clothes as he came. "Yes, mistress. You called?" "Go outside and see who is knocking. Why would someone be at our gate at this hour? Go and look." Don bowed and muttered to himself as he shuffled toward the gate. Of all the days, a mad boy this morning and a knocker tonight. Strange thing is, those dogs haven't barked once. They'd go berserk at a mouse usually. Knock, knock, knock. As Dawn drew closer, he heard something else beneath the knocking. A voice, low and murmuring, reciting something. "Lost soul, this house bears a seal to expel demons. You cannot enter." Dawn opened the gate a crack and peered out. Standing directly in front of the gate was an old man, holding a small hammer, tapping it rhythmically against a metal bell and muttering under his breath. Dawn shouted, "Hey, old man, what do you think you're doing?" Standing outside someone's gate in the middle of the night, banging on a bell and muttering your incantations. People are trying to rest. Go away. The old man turned slowly to look at Dawn and replied in a soft, unhurried voice, "Forgive me, sir. I was passing through on foot and noticed something unusual here. I wanted only to offer a small ritual to calm the spirit. I mean, no disrespect to the homeowner. I will go." Dawn scowled. "Ghosts, rituals. Don't play tricks with me. This house has an attack dog. Get away before it bites those gone knocking hands off you." He turned away, still muttering, but Mrs. Yan had appeared behind him. She peered past Dawn's shoulder into the darkness. "Who is that?" "Some old man, my lady. Says he was calming a wandering spirit. I'm chasing him off." Mrs. Yan looked at the old man. His clothes were plain: cloth shoes, a worn coat, his silver beard neatly trimmed. Something about him made her pause. The old man bowed his head slightly toward her. "Is this the deceased's daughter-in-law? I see now. No wonder his spirit keeps lingering near this place." He turned as if to leave. Mrs. Yan moved forward and seized his arm. Her face had gone pale, her voice unsteady. "Wait, just now, you said..." "The old man." "Which old man? Is there someone here with you?" Master Luong looked directly into Mrs. Yan's eyes. "The old man told me he is the owner of this house." Mrs. Yan could not speak, but years of devotion to temples and monks had sharpened something in her, an instinct for the presence of the genuinely extraordinary. This man, she sensed immediately, was different. Mr. Puong had come outside to see what was taking his wife so long. Mrs. Yan turned to him. "Teacher," she said to the old man, "may I ask your name?" "I am of Chinese descent," Master Luong replied, "a wanderer who has practiced in Vietnam for many years. There was a small matter on the road this evening. I noticed something unusual here and stopped. There is no problem now. I will leave you in peace." Mrs. Yan gripped his arm again. "Please, teacher, you must have stopped at our door for a reason. Our family has always had the deepest respect for people of your abilities. Please come inside. My husband and I have something we need guidance on. The old man you mentioned, I believe, is the very problem that has been tormenting us. We will provide whatever you need. Please, only give us direction." Master Luong stroked his silver beard. After a moment, he nodded and followed her in. Mr. Puong blinked in surprise at the sight of this plainly dressed stranger being ushered into his home by his wife, but Mrs. Yan shot him a glance, and he understood. They led Master Luong into the main room, seated him with cure, and called for tea and cakes. The knocking at the gate earlier, Mrs. Yan explained to her husband. "I came from this teacher. He was passing by our house and sensed something strange at the gate, so he knocked the bell to calm the spirit." Mr. Wong startled. "A ghost at our gate?" Before Mrs. Yan could explain further, Master Luong spoke. "It is indeed a ghost, but one with no malicious intent. It appears the old man genuinely wants to enter the house. However, if there are exorcism seals placed in this home, and he cannot pass through them. At first I thought it was merely a wandering spirit and intended to help the homeowner drive it away. But then the old man spoke to me. He said he was once the owner of this house. His whole body was drenched, his spirit dim and fading. He managed 2 sentences before he disappeared. As soon as I entered the property, I could feel it. The atmosphere here is wrong. Someone died in this house not long ago, and yet The mirrors bearing exorcism seals are mounted both at the gate and inside the rooms. Oh, he paused. This is a serious problem. No wonder the ghost can only circle the gate. When a person dies, even if they were once the master of the house, the seals treat them as they would any other spirit. They cannot return to see their family. Meanwhile, the family makes offerings that never reach him. Mr. Fuang and his wife had gone rigid. Whatever doubts they might have had about this stranger's abilities were dissolving with every word. In just a few minutes of walking through their home and gate, he had described everything accurately. The recent death, the seals, the details of the ghost. Mrs. Yan clasped her hands and bowed. Teacher, you have seen through everything from the first step. My father-in-law passed away just over a month ago. We arranged what we believed was a beautiful and peaceful burial site for him. But last night, I dreamed of him, his body soaking wet, shivering, complaining of cold and hunger. Then this afternoon, a young man from the village came to tell us he had also dreamed of the old man and followed his shadow to the grave. When he awoke, he found himself lying beneath the guava tree on my father-in-law's burial mound. Teacher, if you were truly just passing by and have already seen through the chaos in our hearts, please point us in the right direction. Mr. Vuong continued. We chose the most auspicious land we could find. The funeral rites were observed meticulously. We have made offerings every day since. How can my father be cold and hungry? Master Luong replied, no matter how generous your offerings, no matter how high the tray, how plentiful the food, how constant the incense, if the old man cannot enter this house, none of it reaches him. The seal you have placed here prevents the spirits of the dead from crossing the threshold. He was once the master of this home, but in death, that means nothing. The seal sees him only as a spirit. Since the day he died, he has been unable to return here, and meanwhile, the grave, however beautiful it appeared, has turned passive. His soul has wandered without rest, suffering torments he should not have to endure. I fear that if less than 49 days have passed, and his spirit has already weakened this much, soon both his soul and his consciousness will dissolve entirely. And when that happens, Master Luong's voice remains steady. It is very likely it will return not as a wandering ghost, but as something driven by resentment, placing blame on the family and bringing harm to his descendants. Mrs. Yan's throat closed. Mr. Fuang had broken into a cold sweat. The two of them exchanged a glance and remembered 3 months ago, a feng shui master had advised them to mount the mirrors with exorcism seals. Someone had been casting hostile spells against the Puang household. The master had claimed an elder kin was gravely ill at the time. After the mirrors were installed, elder kin's condition had stabilized. 2 months later, he died. The same feng shui master had arranged the funeral, selected the burial site, the earthen mound at the end of the dirt road past Mio's house, and overseen everything. Now Mr. Puong's teeth were grinding. That bastard, Mr. Puong muttered. He told us the mirrors would protect the house, and then he's the same one who arranged Father's grave. If the grave is passive because of his incompetence, Master Luong said, for now, the most urgent step is to remove the love mirrors. Then count exactly how many days have passed since the old man's death. For each day, prepare 1 bowl of rice and 1 boiled egg. Arrange them neatly, each bowl with a stick of incense. While the incense burns, burn gold and paper offerings, coins, clothing, hats. This must all be done before midnight. Once the officials of the underworld complete their patrol, there is no longer any way to bring things through to him. That is all we can do immediately. Mr. Luong and Mrs. Yen did not hesitate. They began calling servants, assigning tasks, and driving the household into urgent motion. The seals were taken down. Mrs. Yan had a large room prepared for Master Luong to rest before the ceremony. It was 8 o'clock in the evening. The village outside was dark and silent, every lamp in every house extinguished, every neighbor asleep. But within Mr. Luong's mansion, everyone moved with breathless urgency. Master Luong sat alone in his room, drinking tea, eating cake, a faint and knowing smile crossing his lips. In the hallway, Mr. Luong and his wife stood together, speaking in low voices. Mrs. Yan exhaled. It is heaven's blessing on our family. Just when we did not know what to do, a noble person appeared to help. Mr. Luong nodded slowly. When I first saw his clothes, I was skeptical. But a few sentences in, I felt a chill run through me. It really is true what they say. A noble person does not reveal himself by his appearance. He paused. What did you say his name was? I asked him, Mrs. Yen said. He told me, just call him Master Tuo. At Mio's house, Mio and his wife sat under an oil lamp, weaving baskets in the quiet of the evening. The young boy should have been asleep long ago, but he was still awake, and it was clear he was waiting. Master Luong had packed his bag and left after dinner, and the boy had been watching the door ever since. The boy slid off the bed and padded to where his parents sat. Is Master Luong not coming back, father? Mio looked at his son. He has something to attend to. He'll go back to his own house for the night. Now go to sleep. Didn't you promise to be good? Staying up late is bad for you. The boy sighed and climbed back into bed. Mio's wife looked at her husband. But do we even know where the teacher went? He didn't say, Mio replied quietly. But he told me this. If you see him tomorrow, pretend you don't know him. Somewhere in Sonla, not far from Simbak territory, midnight. Knock, knock, knock. Azang, are you still awake? Azang. The wooden door creaked open. Inside the house, a man in a brocade shirt sat by the fire, his hair wrapped in a tight bun like a black python coiled at the base of his neck. This was old Zhang, a man of 60 from one of the ethnic minority clans of the mountains. So, you're back, he said. I thought you were dead. Come inside. Bao stepped in, rubbing his hands together and blowing on his fingers. It really is cold tonight. It gets worse after dark. Old Zhang poked more firewood into the stove. Only after a few minutes beside the fire did Bao's shivering ease. Old Zhang ladled a bowl of hot porridge from the pot hanging over the flames and set it in front of Bao. Eat first, then talk. Bu bowed his head in thanks and drank down the porridge in long, grateful swallows. He had eaten only a little dry food all day. Old Zhang's porridge at this hour, in this cold, was more satisfying than any feast. When he finished, Bao looked at old Zhang with exhausted, hollow eyes. I can't find it anywhere. Does that village even exist? Does it still exist? Old Chong shook his head slowly. It exists. It's just that if you find it, you will die. Bao clenched his fists, his jaw tight. All you've given me are warnings, no real guidance. Old Zhang smiled, a patient, sad smile. Boy, you came to me asking about a place said to exist only in legend. You people of the plains have your own beliefs. We have ours. The story of a village hidden somewhere inside Zimbak, shrouded in mist all year round, talked about in whispers since my father's father's time. It is known by two names. Some call it the Mist Village. Others call it by a name that frightens them more, Devil Village. I told you everything I knew. I told you that finding it would mean your death. Yet you have spent a full year searching, and now you blame me. You should count yourself fortunate to still be alive. Bao breathed out. Oh no, I'm sorry. I lost my temper. Old Shun kept his smile. With everything you have done for the people here, I do not blame you. That is also why I do not want you to go on throwing your life away. Whatever you are searching for, is it truly worth dying for? Gold and silver mean nothing to a dead man. Some people once came to Zimbak, believing the legend that Devil Village is filled with gold. Of those who went looking, some never returned. Those who did return were never the same. They came back mad, or they died soon after. I once looked into the eyes of a dying madman who was said to have set foot in the Devil Village. In his last years, he spoke only one sentence: they are devils. Old Jin's expression shifted as he said it. Even now, the memory unsettled him. Bao replied quietly, there are things that are not gold or silver, but are more important than my life. And this is not the first time I've studied Shimbak. There are records. Since the war, this area has had strange phenomena. Documents describe enemy planes losing control and crashing into rocky cliffs when they flew over this region. Search teams found wreckage, but no bodies. The pilots vanished as if they had never existed. Western researchers who investigated the crashes found evidence that the bodies had been moved by human hands. They ruled that the geological formation here seems to emit a kind of magnetic field strong enough to disorient aircraft flying at lower altitudes. One researcher compared Zimbak to the Bermuda Triangle. Old Zhang listened with a furrowed brow. He did not fully understand everything Bao was saying, but he understood the last part. So in this West you mentioned, there are also ghosts? That sounds frightening. Bao shook his head. He could have explained science to old Zhang for hours without getting far. What the documents made clear was this: within a radius of about 10 kilometers from those crash sites, there was no confirmed human settlement, and yet evidence pointed to human activity. Bao had always been drawn to things that science could not explain, things that sat in the gap between the miserable and the impossible. Old Zheng watched him carefully. Something is on your mind that you haven't told me. Bao smiled faintly. No, it's nothing. Thank you for letting me rely on your hospitality for so long. Old Zheng waved his hand. Forget it. I only wish I could do more. I would go with you myself, but I am old. He hesitated. As for the people here, they care for you too. But this is your matter, and I cannot ask them to share your danger. I understand, Bao said. I'll sleep now. I need to recover my strength before I continue. Old Zhang sighed. So you are still going to look for that village? Bao lay down on the floor, resting his head on his hands, and stared up at the dark ceiling. Of course, even if I have to die, I will find it. Old Zhang turned away without a word and went to bed. Bao lay awake in the dark, thinking to himself, I'm sorry. Old Zhen, you were right to be angry with me, but you're also right that it exists. Devil Village, if those who live there are truly devils, then I hope we will meet again. Early the next morning, at Mr. Puong's house, Master Luong emerged at dawn to find Mr. Fuong and Mrs. Yan already standing at his door, having barely slept. They had listened to his warnings about the passive grave, about the old man's ghost unable to return home, about what would happen if the 49th day passed without remedy. Neither of them had been able to close their eyes. Mr. Fuong bowed as Master Luong stepped out. Please let us offer you breakfast, teacher, and then my wife and I would be honored to take you directly to Father's grave. We ask 100 favors of you. Master Luong stopped him before Mrs. Yan could produce the ceremonial gift she had prepared. Don't accept credit before the work is done. Set it aside. After it is finished, there will be time for that. As for breakfast, there's no need. The morning is cool. Let us go now, quietly, without drawing attention. Just you two, myself, and one person to carry the offerings. No more. Mrs. Yan put the gift away. Teacher, should my family expect any unforeseen danger? Master Luong replied, already moving toward the gate. We will have to see what the passive grave looks like first. Come, let us go.